Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how I made the cutting file for this home decor project. This home decor project was made to fit an IKEA frame, and I think it's called Ribba or Ribba, R-I-B-B-A, and they're about 9 inches square. We're going to be using the Canvas software, and we're just going to be using the basic shapes that are already pre-installed. So I'll just get rid of that. So we're going to go to our basic shapes. We're going to scroll down and we're going to find the heart. And that's going to put the heart in the top left-hand corner of our page. And then while that's still there and selected, we're going to choose the square. And that's going to put the square directly on top, which is great because it saves us having to mess about lining up. Now it's always the top object that's selected. So while that's selected, we're going to go over here to this middle node, and we're going to just drag this over and make this really small. Then we're going to drag an imaginary box around everything, and by that I mean left click up here somewhere so you're above and at the side of your objects, and while holding your left mouse down, drag, and that's what I mean by an imaginary box. And that, as long as you come past the object here, that selects both objects. We're going to go to Edit, Align and Center. And when we move away, that's put our thin rectangle that we drew directly in the middle of the heart. Now, while everything is still selected, we're going to go to this icon here, which is Subtract. And that's now divided the heart for us. But this is still one object, it's still grouped. And you can tell that because it's got a box all the way around the outside. So I'm going to double click on one half of the heart, and you'll see I have a turquoise line here. Now by double clicking, that brings up the edit nodes, and anything that's in turquoise is this section that you will be working on. And we want to get rid of this line, so we're going to click on this furthest right icon which says open closed outline. And if we click on that, it's removed the line for us. So now I'm going to come over to this side of the heart and double click again to expose this line, and again use this open closed outline. And that now removes both those middle sections. And if we click anywhere on our page just to deselect, you'll see now we've got a gap in the middle. So we've got a line here, and this bit wouldn't cut, and then we've got a line here and this bit wouldn't cut. This is still one object now. So while it's still one object, I'm going to hold the shift key down on my keyboard, and I'm going to drag this grouped shape in to get it as near as I can to 1.75 inches. And the reason I'm doing that is because this Reba frame is 9 inches square, and I want 4 rows of 4 hearts. So I've roughly calculated that to give me a space all the way around my finished design and give me a little gap in the middle of each heart and each row, I need these to be about 1.75. Obviously, if you're going to do this bigger or smaller, you can adjust the sizes accordingly. Okay, so now this is 1.75 high. It doesn't really matter about the width, and it's still a grouped item. So I'm going to right click and duplicate, and then I'm going to bring the duplicate and I'm going to roughly align it up at the side of this one. So I've got a little gap in the middle, and I'm just doing this by eye really. But again, you know, you can be do this better than I'm just showing you for the sake of the video. Okay, so we've got a gap here, but there's no saying that these are now lined up evenly because I've moved them around. So we're going to drag an imaginary box around both and go to Edit, Align, and you can either do top or bottom, it doesn't really matter, so long as it will line them up. While they're both selected, I'm going to right click and go Group. So these are now one object. Now I'm going to hold the Alt key down on my keyboard, which is something I've not used in my previous videos. And while I'm holding that down, I'm going to left click with my mouse and drag, and that will bring me a duplicate of this grouped item. And again, I'm just going to do it by eye, click away, see what the gap is now between here to see if it's, you know, similar. Drag an imaginary box around everything, go to edit, align, and again you can do top or bottom, it doesn't really matter which, and that's just going to align now those two sets of grouped objects evenly. While they're all selected, I'm going to right click and do group, and this is now one grouped item. So while everything's selected, I'm going to hold the Alt key down again, left click, this time I'm going to drag down and let go and click off. I know I've got a gap there, but I want to make sure that this row is lined up with this row. So again, I'm going to drag an imaginary box around everything, go to edit, align, and this time I'm going to do left. You could do left or right, it doesn't matter. It just makes sure that this edge is lined up with this edge. While they're all selected, I'm going to go right click and group. So they're now one object. And again, I'm going to hold the Alt key down, left click on my mouse and drag this section below now until I get roughly the same gap here as I get here. Drag an imaginary box around everything, edit, align, left. Now they're all evenly spaced and aligned, as evenly as they can be doing it by eye. There doesn't appear to be a way to distribute shapes within this software at the moment, but I know I have asked Brother if they can include it at some point, and I have read on the internet that other people have as well, so it may be a function that we get at some point. While they're all selected, I'm going to right click and group. We can now see that these 4 rows of 4 are all one group because we've just got one continuous line, and when we move them, they move all together. Okay, so going back to the frame's 9 inches square, so we're going to go up to our basic shapes. We're going to go to the square at the top, hold down the shift key on the keyboard, and we're going to drag out this corner so it keeps this as a square, and we're going to drag it out until we get to 9 inches and let go. Now we're going to drag an imaginary box around everything, and while both these two, this is a group, and obviously this is a square, which is a grouped item. So while both are selected, we're going to go to edit, align, we're going to go center and middle. And when we come away, this group of hearts is now evenly spaced within this rectangle. While they're both selected, I'm going to go align and group, and that's now one object. And that is all there is to it, really. Everything you see on the screen in black will cut. So if you load your mat up with some nice decorative paper or card, this will cut now. So the black line, it will cut the frame for you, and then it will start here and come round to here and stop. And then it will come here and round to here and stop, and it will do that on all the hearts. And if I just zoom in on this top row, you'll see where there's no black line here down the middle will not cut, and that's the bit that will anchor the shape in your card or paper. If I just bring this one in again, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So you can see here where there's no cut line is where it's anchored in the middle on my design. So I'll just zoom out again. So that is now your cutting file. All you would have to do is give it a name, choose save, then you could download it, send it to your machine and cut it. I hope that's helpful. If you do have any questions or comments, please leave a comment below, and I'll try and get back to you with an answer. Thank you for now.